Lies whispering in your ear. They're coming through the airwaves, but that's why you are here. This is the time, make up your mind. You can change your world, but first you gotta open your heart and speak the truth inside. Speak the truth. Live your truth. Speak the truth. Don't be afraid. Don't lie to yourself. Just speak the truth. Come on now, speak the truth. Just speak it. Speak the truth.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Porthole to Justice, the window to the truth. It is June 22nd, 2019. And couple top stories out of the Porthole to Justice. The Washington Post posted an article, how the legal system often ignores constitutional rights of parents. And this is a huge subject here at the Port, because I'm a huge advocate for due process in the lower courts. And in a recent post on the Maryland case, the authorities this is in the Post, but this was 2015, so it's not a recent article. However, I thought the explanation was important. And I want to talk about also the Nexium case and some of the other, things that are coming to light after this ruling, conviction on all counts of Keith Rainier, the self-empowerment or spiritualist that was running a cult that basically was trafficking children. Okay, stick with me. I've got my espresso here. So I'm looking at this article and I'm looking for the explanation. So they're talking about how it's unfair, and I'm going to post this article in the Porthole to Justice on our blogs and social media news network, but it's really saying how unfairness is unavoidable in aspects of the legal system, and I find that I think I find that to be a cop-out. The constitutional rights and the protections that we, deserve were sacrifices that are, that were made to ensure that we would get these rights. And to say that it's just unfair is really disturbing to me. Okay, it says, it's important to recognize that in the case, Wright cites that constitutional issues mostly wasn't even raised, much less decided. Anxious parents generally give in without putting up a fight. If the issue were raised in a sufficiently egregious case, and effectively pursued by determined parents with strong legal representation, the chances of ultimate victory might well be good. And such a victory could create an important precedent that helps determine similar official misconduct in the future, especially if the government agency is forced to pay damages as well as cease its harassment of parents. Now, me personally, I find this to be relevant in my case because 11 years later, I'm still being harassed. And I never received due process. In fact, a lot of my evidence was withheld. Wright also notes that vaguely worded child welfare statutes give bureaucrats wide direction that they sometimes exert in ways that punish perfectly reasonable and safe parenting practices. A problem. Wright's note of caution is well taken. When I wrote that Maryland's situation should be relatively easy case, I meant that applicable precedents clearly support the parents and that they should ultimately prevail if the constitutional issue is raised and the courts take Supreme Court precedent seriously. However, achieving such a victory against determined bureaucrats could require prolonged and costly litigation. Sometimes seemingly novel constitutional issues won't be taken seriously until a case reaches the appellate level, where judges are more used to addressing constitutional questions. Many parents, understandably, lack the time, resources, and emotional stamina for a lengthy legal battle, and even a small risk of defeat might be unacceptable. It could mean losing custody of your children or suffering continued official harassment. I don't blame parents who decide that such a fight isn't worth it. The purpose of my earlier post was to analyze the relevant constitutional issue, not give advice to parents facing potential difficult legal battles with child welfare bureaucrats. I just want to say, it is free when you're in the juvenile courts and you're in the lower courts. If you feel you're not receiving reasonable efforts, or you are not getting due process, you can file for it in the appeals court, and that is, you're right, and it doesn't cost you anything. And I see quite often in a lot of these cases, they're not getting warrants to remove these children. They're not following due process. They're not exercising reasonable efforts. So some of the information in this article, I think, is important. And I'm going to be posting that in Mama Bear Justice and the Porthole to Justice chat, because there's some good points in there to discuss. And then I want to talk about some other stories in the port. I was recently on the Zeph report for Human 2020, which I'm very honored to be on that panel with so many amazing people. I can't believe it. Govinda, the founder, and Zeph Daniel, his wife, and Kuneta's Ramble. All of them have their own podcasts and platforms, and once a month we come together to speak on the issues of global human trafficking, slavery, and crimes against humanity. And I do speak on behalf of the children, because I don't believe children can give consent to some of these issues that CPS, Child Protective Services, is really pushing on the American people, sexualizing the children and so forth. So I'm an activist against that, and I host this podcast for people that want to listen in. There's a lot that goes on within the movement. I'm for due process in the lower courts. Stand by. I'm pulling up some. Okay. Top story. A former top-level Walt Disney executive was sentenced to prison this month for nearly 7 years for child rape. Michael Laney, 73, who was the vice president of Walt Disney, was found guilty of 4 counts of first-degree sexual abuse and sentenced to 81 months in prison. Why only 81 months, folks? Why? This is not acceptable. We have people serving time for marijuana longer than that. This is an article published in the Free Thought Project, and I'll be posting links to these articles in the comments below. That's one of the top stories. And then I was going to mention, I was on the Zeph report, and I spoke a little bit on the NXIVM case. And I just want to say, now we really have it all. It's so very clear for everyone. We now have concrete proof that, they're found guilty on all counts in the court of law. That there was a Hollywood sex cult that owned 11 daycares worldwide, found guilty of human sex trafficking and pedophilia. And, the liberal media is not reporting on this. Remember, the liberal media and the libs said human trafficking was a conspiracy theory. This is a global issue, folks. None of these people can stop what's coming in the exposure of these crimes worldwide. Kirsten Gillibrand's parents were founding members of NXIVM and made illegal contributions to Hillary, Schumer, Trudeau, Cuomo, Bill Clinton's inner circle, and were all customers. So I lightly touched on that on the Zeph report. And I've posted an article in Porthole to Justice and the chat. So you can join the live chat and comment on these issues. Also, I want to say something about Whoopi Goldberg's comment on The View. It's very hurtful, and we live in 2019, and a lot of people have long-distance relationships where they are online and they are exchanging nude photos. It's not, it's just 2019, and this is the internet. And anyways, Bella Thorne, who is emotionally distraught over Whoopi Goldberg slamming her on The View for possessing nude photos and selfies. Everybody has them, Whoopi. Everybody has them. And, I'm sure, even Whoopi in her heyday probably had some. I remember a photograph of her naked in a bathtub of milk, okay, way back in the day. Anyways, during the Hot Topics portion of the ABC talk show on Monday, the Oscar winner seemingly blamed the actress for the threat. And I don't care how old you are, you don't take nude photos of yourself. That was Whoopi's comment. The 20-year-old took to Instagram the next day and posted a heartfelt, tearful video in response. Shame on you, Whoopi. Shame on you for putting that public opinion out there like that for every young girl so that they think they are disgusting for even taking a photo like that. Shame on you. Props to you, Bella Thorne. That show, I posted a meme of like a panel of witches with the View logo on it. I just think that there's nudes out there of everyone. I mean, there's nudes out there of Justin Bieber. There's hackers. That's a part of 2019. This is the age that we live in, and most relationships are online. And there are people